Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Today we are going to talk about roles. What is role? Can anyone have to explain? Can someone explain? What is role? You know what is entitlement and what is role. Role is a group of entitlements. A group of entitlements. When we have entitlements, why do we need to implement role module? When we integrate multiple systems, we need to assign the different entitlements from the different systems that can be grouped together inside a role. That, let's say, the person working as a developer might need access to 10 systems. The developer could be a role, and then that role will have the entitlements from the 10 systems. You mean to say we have to simplify the process? Is that right? Could be. Let's assume we have 4 applications and we have a username called XYZ who is a developer. When it comes to developer, he needs 4 application access. A ServiceNow Splunk Denators. And if any of the user needs these application access, they are supposed to request 25 entitlements from AD application as we did yesterday. For ServiceNow, 10 entitlements needs to be requested. For Splunk 25 entitlements, Denators 15. Altogether, user needs to select 725 entitlements and user need to submit request to get these 4 application access. In that process, there are chances user may select incorrect entitlements. Because in real-time ANSYS, sometimes the entitlement name could be similar. User may select incorrect or irrelevant entitlement. User will report the issue by stating I'm not able to access particular application. Or maybe I'm able to log into the application, but I'm not able to access particular menu, particular tab. In that process, incorrect or irrelevant entitlement has been provisioned because of the user issue. If we have to avoid these kinds of manual error. Correct. To avoid these kinds of error and to simplify the approval process, we are supposed to implement role module. Is that clear? Why do we need to implement role? On top of that, let's say when user is going to request for 75 entitlement. All 75 entitlement owners are different entitlement owner. Then we require 75 different approvals, 75 approvals from 75 different owners. Again, it's a painful process. Yesterday, when we aggregate entitlement, we ensure all the entitlements are available right. We aggregated entitlement from track application. Then we submitted a request by selecting those entitlements. Correct. The same scenario. Now user needs 4 application access. Obviously, user needs to request 75 entitlement to get these 4 application access. In that scenario, there are chances user may select incorrect or irrelevant entitlement. Obviously, we have to simplify the process that we can avoid manual error. That is the reason we will combine these entitlement and we can create new role. Instead of requesting these entitlement, user can request role directly. Got it now? I got it. In Sailpoint, we have 4 types of role. One is business role, IT role, organizational role, and entitlement. We have 4 types of role. Out of 4, these 2 we won't use because these 2 won't help us to get the required application access. We can skip as of now. Then we have business role and IT role. Basically in Sailpoint allows us to combine all the entitlement and we can create IT role. Technically, IT role is a collection of entitlement. Then what is business role? Business role is a collection of IT role. Let's say now we have 4 applications. I'm going to combine these 25 entitlement and I will create one IT role. Similarly, I'm going to combine 10 entitlement and I'm going to create one IT role in the name of developer. I can create 4 IT roles. Now instead of requesting these 75 entitlement, user can request for IT role directly. This IT role once got up to all the approvals. User will get all 75 entitlements directly. If you want to simplify the process more, we can combine these IT roles and we can form one business role. Which means now user can request business role directly. Underlying IT role and the entitlement will be provisioned by Sailpoint in the target application in the respective target application. Got it. The IT role and the business role will be created in the Sailpoint system only, right? Yes, business role, IT role will be below. It's a Sailpoint property. Business role and IT role can be created in Sailpoint. Now imagine if we are going to request for this business role, we require only one approval from business role owner. Once approvals are done, Sailpoint will add 4 IT role. Along with that, 75 entitlement will be provisioned in the target application. Got it. Is it valid to create an IT role by combining 2 entitlements from 2 different applications? Yes, there is no limitation. There is no restriction. The same entitlement can be part of many IT roles. The same IT role can be part of many business roles. And under one IT role, you can add many entitlements from different applications. If the user wants to remove a couple of entitlement or couple of IT role, it's not possible in real-time scenarios. Because the user got this application access because of this business role. If the user don't want this access, then the user is supposed to request this business role directly. The user cannot request this IT role because once it's part of any business role, it will be made it as non-requestable. Which means user cannot request or remove this IT role directly. The user is supposed to request and remove business role directly. That's all about role. Now let's talk about the advantages. If you are going to implement this role, what will be the advantages we can expect? Anyone quickly? One is the user can have request for only one role. Similarly, there will be only one approval. Even the management people also can see these roles easily and can understand that the people have proper roles or not, if it is defined properly. You mean to say your manager easily can review all these reporting access because they will have a business role directly. It would be help all the managers. I would say certifier to review the user access correct. Yes, that's true. One is a certification. From certification point of view, Other one, I would say approval activity right. We can simplify the approval process. And from user point of view, we can avoid the manual error. Correct that we can streamline all the operational process. Other than that, one more thing try to think from developer point of view. Now developer is going to write one rule. Write a rule where all these entitlement needs to be assigned. All these entitlement needs to be iterate, which means 75 iteration will happen if we are going to write a rule on this item. Iteration means one by one all the entitlement will be called. Instead of iterating 75 entitlement, we can iterate a business role directly. From coding point of view also, we can expect some. When we are writing any rule, we can simply use business role instead of entitlements. These are the advantages we can expect if you are going to implement role model. Now we want to create a role. Just navigate to setup. Click on rule. Now we can create a new role from here. I'll take control now. Click on new role. Role from here we can create. Now, itero is a collection of entitlement, right? We can change the type as itero. The itero name will be, I'm going to name it as test itero. Can someone explain being a role owner? What will be the roles and responsibility? Adding the entitlements and to the means modifying the rules. Basically, adding and even moving in. And maybe the role approval also. Approvals then. Modifying the roles. Let's say today we are adding the 10 entitlements. But tomorrow we need to add 2 more or remove 2 more. That also need the owner approval or something, or owner can only do something like this. You're right. Being a role owner, this person is responsible to define and manage this entire policy. First thing. Second, whenever user is going to request for this IT role, then this person is responsible to provide an approval. These two activities will be taken care of. A role owner. Now then, description, the purpose of creating this role and what will be the expected outcome. Just copy paste the description. We can ignore this. Enable monitoring and profile provision, both profile and all. We won't use this in real time. But the role is active or inactive, we'll come to know from this checkbox. If role is disabled, then it cannot be requestable. Inherited role, we will discuss in the business role creation. Now we are going to add entitlement from different applications. Since we onboarded only one application, let's give a try. From Prism, did you aggregate the data? Yesterday we aggregated only for track application. I'm going to add 2 entitlements. One is input. Other one is approve. But yesterday, you remember we made it as non-requestable. Input entitlement cannot be requestable directly, but we can add it under it role. I have added 2 entitlements and I'm going to create and here we have a provisioning policy. We'll discuss this in later of the chapter. Click submit. Role will be created. Now if you want to access the same IT role from debug page, For entitlement, you have to search with managed attribute. Right. Similarly, you cannot search with role. It needs to be searched with bundle. Now we created a. I'm going to create one more IT role with different name. We can copy the existing object, existing script. Then I'll try to create a new one. Whenever you are going to create any new object from debug page, you can get the script from the existing or identity existing object. Then try to remove this created ID values because it referring the existing object. Now I'm going to name it as test B. Test committed something. Test committed role. That's it. Click save. One more. Role could have been created. Now we have two IT. Test. Just go to front end and confirm. We could see to IT. Let's say I need to create. Oh, we'll go like this. We can use role mining concept also. You are going to cover the role mining concept, right? I'll give an overview. Usually we won't use in real time, but I'll give an overview. Now we have two IT roles, right? I'm going to combine these two IT role using under one business role. Click on new role. I'm going to name it as test business role. The type is going to be business. And owner will be there. Description. It should be active. This assignment rule we will discuss in the RBSE chapter. First thing. Sec. Here we could see we have required role, permitted role. Both roles will allow you to add IT. Under required role, I'm going to add one IT. Permitted role also allow us to do the same thing. Then what is the difference between required and permitted? Any. When both fields allow you to add IT role, then what is the difference between these two? Do you need approval for permitted roles? Required will be assigned automatically. Then permitted. Permitted is they can optionally add these roles. Exactly. Whatever role we are going to add under required role, it will be provisioned by Sailpoint automatically. Permitted roles are optional roles. If user required, they can select or else they can ignore, which means user is going to request for this business role. Sailpoint will pop up something by stating, you have a permitted role. Do you require this or not? If you require, you can check enable the checkbox, something like that. Then we have inherited role. Inherited role. You can inherit this role with any existing business role IT. There is no limitation. You can inherit this role with IT and business role, which means if user is going to request for the inherited role, along with that this business role and underlying entitlement IT role, everything will be provisioned. And already I said we have a provisioning policy. We have a separate chapter for that. We'll discuss that later. That's it. Now we created a business role and we have two underlying IT. Now I'm going to submit request by selecting this business role. Just navigate to manage user access. I'm going to submit access request for Albeit by selecting this business. These three are entitlements. Yesterday we aggregated three. We created a business role. Here you could see only business role is appearing. Roles are not appearing because it's by default. It's not requestable, but it doesn't mean you cannot make them as requestable. You can make it as requestable. Now I'm going to request for this business role. Here you could see one optional role is available, which is a permitted role. If user is required, then they can select or else they can ignore. Click next and hit the submit button. A request will be submitted, and request requires certain level of approvals. Then access will be provisioned. Now go to request access request. Here we don't have any. We don't require any approval. User got the access. Now go to Albertwood's profile. Here you could see the business role has been added. That's it. Any question? Now I'll demonstrate because I have real applications. I'll demonstrate from my end. I'll submit one more request from my end also. Now you can stop sharing, Rajesh. Now I'll go ahead and I'll submit request by selecting one of the business role. And again in my system I have disabled all the approval. We don't require any approval if anybody is going to submit request. Go to setup. Let's say the role name is accounts payable. Accounts payable is having one IT role. The IT role is having entitlement from 3 different applications. Loopback Connector Prism AD. In my system, all 3 are conforming applications. That Sailpoint will create the account in the target application directly. Let's select this role, Accounts Payable. And we'll select one user as well who don't have access on these applications. Let's say William Moore. This William doesn't have access on AD Prism. In Loopback Connector, he's having account but no entitlement. Correct? Go to Entitlement tab. Here you could see the user doesn't have entitlement from AD Prism Loopback Connector application. Anywhere, then he's going to get one entitlement from each application. And we'll see. In the Prism application, you could see we don't have any user account in the name of William. As of now, we have only 6 accounts. Let's confirm in the Active Directory application as well. Rakesh, meanwhile it is connecting. For which system you have faced the most challenge in for the integration, basically. But it is a SaaS application. And if you are going to, if you decided to go ahead with the web services connector, then it's going to be painful. Web services. And what about the rest? API and Java. API. Yes, exactly. All these web services based like REST API, Java API, all are having the SOAP as the issue, right? That's why we require a developer also. If it is a web services connector, most of the time we require developer help. To write some before provisioning rule, after provisioning rule, everything. And moreover, it would be very difficult to make application team understand what exactly we are looking for. Now I am going to search. We don't have the LIAM account in the target application, AD application. Now I'll go ahead and I'll submit request. I have selected the username called William and I'm going to request for accounts payable business role. If I'm going to request for accounts payable business role at the end user is going to get 3 entitlements from different applications. This is what provisioning policy basically. It's a form. We have a separate chapter to discuss about this. Now, request has been submitted successfully. Sailpoint has added all the required business role and the underlying IT rule entitlement, everything. Now go to user profile and refresh. Initially we had only 2 rules, but now we are having accounts payable and accounts payable IT rule here. And now we are having 3 more entitlements from different applications. AT Loopback Connector Prism. Go to Application Accounts. Here we could see user got Active Directory account including 1 entitlement. And then Loopback Connector. User already had an account. But now user got 1 more entitlement. And from Prism application account got created and user is having 1 entitlement. Right. Which means Sailpoint created account and added all the underlying entitlement. Now it's time to check the target application. Since it's a conforming application, obviously Sailpoint would have been added this account in the target end. Last time we had 6 accounts. Now we are having 7 accounts including William Moore. And William Moore user is having super entitlement. Now I'm going to check the AD application. Here also account got created. And domain admin entitlement has been added. And now we are going to check Loopback Connector. Basically, Loopback Connector is a Sailpoint internal application. Application administrator entitlement has been added. How to happen in the background? I think I couldn't hear you properly. I understood maybe you are looking for how Sailpoint is initiating the transaction, right? Right. You know, Active Directory is a conforming application, which means one can access the system directly. Now I will open AD application and I'll show you. Yesterday I said, right, you can onboard, but you need to configure IQ service also. This IQ service is a mediator between Active Directory and Sailpoint application. We need connector. On top of that, we need IQ service also. There is an exception for AD application. That's why I'm explaining. But all other applications. Let's take an example. We have application called Prism. By nature of this connector, it's a non-conforming application. Rekishits? It's got it. But understanding what process used by the Sailpoint to create the account in the ADN. And also, basically, you are asking that what are the jobs or process running inside the Sailpoint which created the account in A, D and then in the Prism database, right? We have done. I think we need to done additional setting for do these things. You're talking about account creation. how Sailpoint has created this account, right? Right. Like that, which provisioning policy and workflow will be used by these things? Let me answer for your question. We have a connector. The connector itself, it will take care of all the provisioning activities. If it is a conforming application, the connector itself, it will take care. If it is non-conforming application, in this scenario, Prism is a non-conforming application because JBC is a connector which cannot perform any provision. But we have a requirement from the stakeholder where we are getting a lot of requests for Prism application to create a phone. We have to automate this process. That's where we will get in and we will write a provisioning rule. This provisioning rule will help us means it will help Sailpoint to create a phone in the target application diagram. Here we have written a rule where if it is a create operation somewhere, it will be written. If the operation is create, then account needs to be create under users table. Insert into users table. These are the column name and the value can be. Get it from here. Everything is done by the provision rule. Provisioning rule if it is a non-conforming application. I will open AD application itself. AD is a conforming application, right? Let's try to check whether do we have any provisioning rule or not. This is AD application. It's a conforming application. Here we don't have any provisioning rule. We didn't define any provisioning rule, right? Then how come provisioning is possible? Because the connector is a conforming application. Got. I think it will be clear in the LCMN chapter. My curious, I think. Yes, in the LCMM we will clearly mention. Because if you are going to submit request, no issue. Yes, it's a very simple process. We've done the next. But problem is but how to happen everything automatically like these things? But if a user account is created in the AD, I think we will have to give the information of the what is SAM account, what is UPNAN as well. Give it detail. That's true. But I think where you've done the setting, it is most important for me and another teammate as well. We'll discuss in the provisioning chapter. We have two approaches. One in the joiner event, we will write a workflow. Right over here, I'll show you. Whatever you said right. We need to get the SAM account name, first name, last name, everything. Yes, that is my thing. That's another scenario. But now we submitted a request, right? Let me show you. Let's go to the work page. We have a workflow called joiner birth rate, AD. It's related to joiner event. It's not related to manual submission. We will try enable. We will write a provisioning plan. Inside the provisioning plan, we will get all the SAM account name, primary group, object, type, password, everything. We will write a provisioning plan. When provisioning is going to trigger, when provisioning engine is going to trigger, this provisioning plan will be called. We have the same provision rule in the data that you shared with us. We have the same rule or not? Yes. You guys already have this rule. Can you guide me? Where is it? But I checked that rule. But I did not find any such rule in the. Now I have shown right. We can submit requests using this manage user access. Now, if users are supposed to submit request, but they cannot define the priority of the request, whether it's a high priority ticket or low priority ticket, they cannot define. You don't have any place. You don't have any menu to define the priority. The first requirement, we need to enable that. Second requirement, we should allow the user to attach some documents, attach some text file, and maybe consider this as a privileged access. If somebody want to obtain this access, they must complete some mandatory trainings that they can enclose. They can attach the course completion certificate or the course completion icon, something. We should allow them to. We should allow the requester to attach some documents. And the third requirement, let's say the user is a contractor. And since it's a privileged access, it cannot be assigned. Maybe due to some unfortunate situation, we have to assign for a given period of time. Maybe this access needs to be assigned only for a week or only for a month. Then after that, the access needs to be removed automatically. While submitting the request itself, we should allow the user to select the end date, which means on this particular date, access needs to be removed automatically without any delay. If you want to enable these functionalities, it's quite simple. Let me show you that. If you want to define the priority, then first click on Gear icon. Navigate to Lifecycle Manager. Just you have to enable this checkbox. It will help you to define the priority. First requirement. Second requirement. We should allow the user to attach some document. Go to Global Setting IEQ Configuration. Then go to Miscellaneous. From here, we can allow the user to attach some document attachment. And you can have the supported file type also. Second requirement. Third requirement, we should allow the user to enable sunset, sunrise functionality, which means we can have the start date, end date. Start date means access will be activated on the particular date. And end date means access will be removed. We can enable these. Sunset, sunrise functionality. That's it. I think somewhere the password is getting stored. We have to remove this. It's done. Now we can go ahead and we can refresh. We can resubmit the request. Select any one user. Click Next. I'm going to select Roller Business Role. Click Next. And here we have a priority. We can define whether it's a high priority or low priority. We can define that. Second, we are allowed to attach some document. We can attach some text file or anything we can attach over here. Third requirement, we can allow the user. We can define on what date the access needs to be activated and what date the access needs to be removed. Let's say I'm going to define the access needs to be removed on 3rd of December. Click Submit the request. Go to my work access request. Here you can find whether it's a high priority ticket or not. And the same thing will be notified to approvers also. Second, we can access. All the approvers can access this attachment. That they can go through this attachment and they can provide their approval decision. Third, whether the access has been given I mean, the end date is showing or not. We will check. We'll open the user profile. Adam Kennedy. We'll open the user profile. Go to Entitlement tab. Here you could see the access has been added now because we didn't define the start date. Just we defined the end date. The access needs to be removed on 3rd of December. How do we validate whether access is going to be removed on this date or not? Any one of you? Are we supposed to wait till next week? Let's say you are a developer. You implemented this functionality, but you need to validate from your end. Time machine. Time machine? What is time machine? We can forward the time. Right, using that. If you are going to forward the time, is it going to? I mean, basically, we will try to advance the time. Right. If you are going to change the time for Sailpoint application, the time is going to reflect for all the users or only for your system. I think it will reflect the entire Sailpoint system, right? Then try to imagine a scenario. You are trying to advance the time for 1 week, right? And obviously, in everybody's system, the time will show as 3rd of December. But that's not true actually. If you are going to advance the time, it will reflect only on your machine. Now let's understand how to enable the time machine once. Time machine can be enabled from debug. Just we have to modify this URL. After debug at time, M should be uppercase. Timemachine.json. That is a typo. Time machine is not enabled. It's disabled. We need to enable the time machine. Again, you have to navigate to debug page. Go to system configuration. Here, somewhere you can add. We need to enable the time machine. Entry key. Entry key is going to be time machine enabled. And the value should be true. And we can close this entity. That's it. Now go ahead and enable the time machine. But Rakesh, here we are using the localized version of this one. Right, application server. But then when the application server is shared one and everyone is using that, then this will be reflected everybody's machine. Right, whoever is accessing it. We are not making changes in the application server directly. Right. Just we are modifying from the system properties of your object of your machine. Obviously, it won't reflect. And Sailpoint is defined this time functionality. Whoever is going to modify this object, the time, whoever is going to modify the time in the time machine, it will reflect only on their system. Now, the current time is 26th of November. Now I'm going to advance by 8 days. Now the current time is December 4th. And as per this configuration, access should have been removed on 3rd of December. Now I'm going to refresh because the current date is December 4th. Go to entitlements. It's been removed. This is how we can validate by enabling the time machine file. That's it. That's it. If you want to disable them back, you can do it from system property file. Once you perform all your testing, Just click on reset button. Your current date will be reset. That's it. Rakesh, what if we need to make these fields mandatory before submitting the request, like the attachments and comments and all that? Can that also be done? You have to make them as mandatory. It's a customization. Can you tell us where that can be done? No, by default you cannot do it. You have to make some changes in the workflow. But in latest version, it's an out-of-the-box functionality. Let's say we are going to submit request. Now let's say the comments business justification is a mandatory field. In latest 8.2 or 8.3, the business justification is a mandatory field. We have that functionality as out-of-the-box one. But again, this priority and all you have to work on customization. You have to modify the core code of the product. I never done that. I'm not sure how to do it. But this attachment also, it's not possible. But comments I have seen in the new version after 8.2. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.